So let's take a look at some examples where technology has adapted all over the world. The 5G rollout is now in full focus all around the world now, and that's resulted in a rise in, particularly we saw in the Chinese market, of image temperature measurement and face recognition software. And if you go to places like China, you'll see that in railway stations, shopping malls. You also see it in quite a number of hospitals here in the UK as well. And this technology, backed up by artificial intelligence, has now got to the point where it's 90% accurate at detecting virus transmission. So 5G has allowed the internet connectivity of these devices to operate all over society. So you've got different types of systems speaking to each other, and 5G allows the much speedier connectivity of these devices speaking to each other, analyzing information, and also reporting information. You've also seen a huge rise in online doctors and real-time reports as well, and we'll go on to some of the reporting methods for COVID-19 detection as well in a minute. But we've seen video consultations in healthcare, for example, adopted widely all over the world, and also in places such as China. This is a Chinese example of an app that exploded during the lockdown as people were moving more towards virtual ways of identifying issues. Also, augmented reality as well, backed up by 5G, has been a big trend, a big growth trend there. And that's where doctors, for example, can use AR glasses to remotely analyze and provide some analysis on issues with patients. So in places like China, this was backed up by teleconferencing technology and also widely adopted. And those strategies are being adopted all over the markets all over the world now. Also, online learning and e-learning. Tony Pang's got a good example of this in projects that we're working on with him. And we saw a big increase in online learning, also teaching done on digital platforms and e-learning throughout the crisis. So there's been a huge acceleration towards this technology, and also across lots of different sectors. So it's not just across teaching, for example, and it's also across healthcare, and also across personal fitness, for example. You've also got technology partnerships, which are pretty much unheard of, such as the integration between Apple and Google. And they basically built an interface that allowed both Apple and Google to speak to each other and measure device proximity. So that allowed a lot of the COVID-19 detector apps to be developed. And so that's a very interesting collaboration between two quite heavily competing parties. And also off the back of that, you've got the investment in AI and data science. So there's a lot more capability as well with the amount of data that programs can take off them, and also the development of AI technology behind that. So this is an example of EasyJet, where they partnered with a company called Black Swan Data, and they were analyzing how much people were buying on the airline and feeding that into the supply chain system. And that allowed them to reduce waste as well across the entire business. So it can be used very effectively to help identify and reduce costs, and also reducing elements like waste is a very positive thing for the environment as well. Also, digital commerce was a huge increase during COVID-19, and we saw that 58% of UK consumers said they were shopping more online than they did before COVID-19. You saw huge increases in sales on the likes of Amazon and all other e-commerce platforms across the world, and also a major decline in that bricks and mortar retail as well, that has been suffering quite heavily, particularly over the Christmas period. Also, an interesting evolution was VR property viewing as well. So the property market needed to stay afloat, and there's been lots of peaks and troughs throughout the lockdown. And VR technology was then utilised with property agents to help remotely purchase and sell properties as well, very successfully in some cases.